Om Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. I shall take refuge at the lotus feet of the enlightened ones. I shall take refuge at the Dharma and the Sangha. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, sorry for the delay. I had been to airport to pick up some guest, important guest. As a result, there was a traffic jam and I got delayed. My sincere apologies for that. And today, it is a thrice blessed day. Most of you know that. Why? On this full moon day, according to the Indian calendar, it is called Vaishaka. The month name, it is called Vaishaka. So it is a thrice blessed day. The same day, on this day, Buddha was born. The enlightened was born. I mean, physically, in the form of physical sense. On the same day, he also got enlightenment. That's why he's called Buddha. Siddhartha, why is called Buddha? Because he's enlightened once. Under the Bodhi Ruksha, he got the enlightenment. And the third is Mahanirvana. He left his mortal coil on the same day. That is the reason it is known, or it is called thrice blessed day. Now, Buddha is the enlightened once. Then what is the message we can take from him? It is very, very important. Buddha is enlightened once, awakened once, I said. As per the story goes, when he was born, in no time, an astrologer came and he predicted, saying that either, his father was a king of a small kingdom who had enough rich wealth and all. Obviously, a king always feels and expects that his son will be the future king. He will be the prince and then king. But the astrologer said, there are two possibilities. Either he will become one of the great king, or he will become an ascetic. The king said, okay, I will see that he will become a king. But the astrologer said, I fear he may become king, you may try, but according to my understanding or my knowledge, he will become an ascetic. And he will be the king of the world in spiritual world, he means. But the king challenged that ascetic or an astrologer ascetic, saying that whatever you may say, I will see that he will become the king. And the astrologer laughed, he smiled, let the fate decides, he said, and he left the palace. Now the king obviously was a bit worried. He made arrangements in such a way that all youngsters and everything beautiful women, beautiful ladies, beautiful male people, whoever so. So in such a way that the arrangements were done, Siddhartha, he never came across any difficult things, any bad things, or old age people, or old people, or a deceased people, or etc. That's what the story says. So basically, he was in the prison of pleasures. He was in the prison of pleasures, he was. Then he was born, nicely, he got training for just to become a prince and king. He was a prince then. He married to Yashodha by name, and he also had a son. So one fine day, by this time, his father Shododana was very happy that I think Siddhartha will never become an ascetic because now he is married and he has got a son also, and his life is taken care. One fine day, suddenly, the Siddhartha asked for his father, revered father, can you give me a permission to go out and just to walk or just to have some here and there, just I will walk and come in my kingdom. Though Shuddhodana was hesitant, but because of the insistence of Siddhartha again and again, he said fine. But he was also a bit worried, but he thought now he's grown up enough and he's got family, nothing will happen. So basically Siddhartha's father agreed. And Siddhartha with his charioteer or driver, in the horse chariot, he went out from his palace. First, initially in the palace road, the main palace roads, everything was beautiful. because Shuddhodana had arranged in such a way that. So everything was beautiful, things are beautiful. He was very happy. Then he took a diversion. He asked his driver to take a diversion, and he wanted to go inside of the kingdom, interior part of the kingdom. So when he traveling, suddenly he saw an old man whose hands are shaky bit and his skin is wrinkled and he's with having a stick. He's traveling. He's walking. First time Siddhartha saw an old man. That's what the story goes. Now, Siddhartha was really perturbed or disturbed, and he asked, what happened to that man or to this man? Why is he like that? Then Siddhartha's driver or charioteer said, my lord, that is called old age. It happens to everyone. Then Siddhartha asked, does it happen to me also? Yes. For you also? Yes. So that was a rude shock for him. At some point of time, he will pass or he has to face the old age. That was a rude shock for him. Then after he traveled a bit, then he saw a deceased man, probably had a leprosy or some disease basically. Again, it was again one more shock it was. He asked his driver come front, what happened? What has happened to him? Why is he like this? The driver or charioteer said, my lord, he is deceased. He has got a disease. Now, very well, these are 21 years or 23 years of old. So can any one of us be expect that he didn't have any disease at all by this time? At least he had a flu or a cold or a cough or something by this time. But the story goes like that. Probably he had not faced a greater disease except some cold or maybe fever or whatever. So when he saw that a deceased body, so he asked, sometimes can it happen to you also? The charioteer said, yes. Then what about me? I'm going to be, now I'm a prince and I'm going to be a king. Will it happen to me also? The driver, his friend said, yes, my dear lord, it happens to you also. It can happen to you also. Okay, then he continued. Then he saw a dead body. In the olden days in India, they used to put 4 bamboos across, and in between they used to put some mats. Based on that, they used to put a wrap with a cloth, dead body, and they used to tie, and they were decorated with flowers, and people used to carry physically, 4 people or whatever. So like that, a dead body was carried for cremation. Then Siddhartha asked again, what is this? Why is he not moving? Or why is he lying down? And I think he's not even breathing. What happened to him? Then his charioteer, he said, my dear lord, he's dead. So he can't speak. He can't breathe. He's no more. So that's why they are taking him to the cremation ground to cremate. Okay. So anyone and everyone will die? Yes, my dear lord. Do I die? Do you die? Yes, my dear lord. Then these 3 things were a rude shock for him. Then Siddhartha said for his driver or charioteer said, let us drive back to the palace. Then they took a U-turn and he came back. Shuddhodana was very happy that his son has come. And this triggered his mind to think the square fact of the life. Now here one important thing for all of us is, so every day we are seeing this. Siddhartha, at least at the age of 21 or 22, he saw all these things. From our childhood days, we have seen all these occurrences, but we take it for granted, or even we don't bother, or we don't think seriously whether can it come to me also. That's why we are not awakened, we are not enlightened even now. Though we know that, but we are not taken seriously and we don't think it. That's the interesting story is there in Mahabharata, one of the history book of the India. There, one of the angel, Yaksha, asks one king called Dharmaraya that, what is the astonishment, greatest astonishment in the world? He replies beautifully, dear sir, every day we see that X, Y, Z, or he or she is dying by seeing, but still we think that we are going to live eternally. This is the greatest astonishment. So we are not awakened basically. Whereas these 3 Just 3 incidents, it awakened, it made Siddhartha to think time and again, what is the reality of the life? Now, definitely these are all painful. Old age is painful sometimes for some of us, if not for all. It depends on mindset, I don't say no. Disease and death, all of them are, I mean, uh, it is a unpleasant truth basically. So most of us, we may try how to get away from this unpleasant truth, or how to face it, how to get away from this, how to get rid of this. Most, or the most we can think this, we may think this. That such type of people are called philosophers or spiritual people, whatnot in the society. But in Buddha's case, the difference is he thought, so XYZ is going to die or is getting victimized by disease and old age. So some other time, my parents, my children, myself, my friends, relatives, everyone is going to be victimized by this. And there is lot of sorrow, lot of pain behind this. So now I should find out a reason. I should find out a cause for this problem, and I should also find out a solution so that myself and also the entire humanity, humankind, can come out from this problem. So he universalized the problem. This is the one big important thing in the life. One is that he got awakened from the bitter truth of the life. Apart from that, whatever the pain is there, whatever the suffering is there, whatever the bitter truth is there, he didn't think how to come away, how to get away from this, how to get rid of this. He didn't think. Instead of that, this is the problem of every being, every individual. That means it is a universal phenomena. So is there any way out to come out from this problem? Or in spite of this, how one can be happy, how one can be peaceful, how can one be blissful at all times? So this thought lingered in the Siddhartha's mind. It got intensified. He's eating, he's sleeping, he's drinking, he's doing all his earlier activities similar way. But now none of them, the worldly riches and the palace uh, pleasures, are no more any value to him. Rather, he's thinking, how can I get rid of these problems? How can I help the mankind? So one fine day, he thought, now whether I should be a king and be in the palace riches, or I should go outside and I should be secluded, or I should go out to the world from the palace and search the truth. If not, let me know the truth from the wise people and let me practice and let me give this to the mankind. That made him to renounce his all palace and kingship and all the wealth, abundant wealth and riches. On midnight, he got up and he called his charioteer, who was very obedient. He asked, come, let us go outside. And he went out. Then he wore the ochre robe and he removed all the jewels and ornaments, because in India and Nepal in those days, they used to wear a lot of gold, diamonds, pearls, and all of them were removed, and silk cloths he removed, and he gave to his friend come charioteer. He said, to take this. If you want, you can go back to palace, or otherwise you go somewhere, because you may be punished by my father. Saying that all the riches, whatever was in his body, he gave away, and he just wear a simple cloth, and he said, don't follow me and don't tell me that I'm going here or there. Just go back to the palace, saying that he left in search of the truth. Now he went. He got five, teachers. Mostly they were Sankhya philosophers. The teachers belonged to Sankhya philosophy. So he understood, and also Jainism, extreme austerity he practiced. A lot of penance he did, a lot of austerities he did, but he didn't find out the truth. And one fine day, because of extreme austerity, extreme penance, his body had become so fragile. One day he collapsed and he was not able to even lift a bowl of water. Nearby there was a river, small river. He wanted to go and have a cup of water. He was not able to go there. He was not able to even crawl. That made him to think this extreme penance, extreme austerity is not right for the spiritual life, or for the to find out the truth. Then by that time, that day, I mean, interestingly, a lady came to that nearby river, and she found this. I mean, the Buddha or Siddhartha is struggling with his life. Then she helped him by giving some, I mean, some, they say, some sweet pudding. Basically, she fed the Buddha, and Buddha got energy back, and he thanked her. He thanked, and from that day onwards, he took the resolve that let me follow the middle path. Madhya Panta. This is one of the important teaching of Buddha. Extreme, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also tells that I should not eat too much food and I should not fast too much also. Sleeping too much or not sleeping at all. And too much recreation and not doing at all. I should follow the middle path. Already Krishna had told in Bhagavad Gita, same idea. It flashed in the Buddha's mind or Siddhartha's mind. He said, from today onwards, I will follow middle path. I will not follow any extreme paths. Then he started taking a bit of food and he started following. And in the Bodha Gaya, in the eastern part of the India, which is called present Bihar, there under the peepal tree, one day, one fine day, he decided, I mean, so many years over, still I have not found out the truth. So till finding out the truth, I will not get up from my seat. He took a firm resolve and he sat under the peepal tree meditating. Now, well, here is a very interesting point. Most of us, we also take firm resolve. I will get up at early morning, 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. I will do this, I will do that. Like that, we will take a lot of resolve. Yeah, one day, I mean, there are some people, they think, and they don't do at all. For them also, no problem. And there are a couple of good people, blessed people who have got a strong-willed people. They take a resolve once they take and they follow it. Say, some of us, we take a resolve that tomorrow morning, from tomorrow onwards, I will get up at 5 a.m. Either it is a spring or a autumn or summer or winter, I will get up at 5 a.m. He thinks and he sets alarm or whatever, and he starts getting up at 5 a.m. because he thought, he decided, and because of strong will. So there are both extremes. One, he doesn't do anything at all, and one, he does everything, whatever he thinks. Both of them, they don't have a problem. Now, most of us, we are in between. We are oscillating between strong will and weak will. Or we try to get up at 5 1 or 2 days. We may able to, then afterwards we forget and we sleep till 7, 8, or we get up little late. We will feel bad, then again try, again we are able to do some for some days, again go back to pavilion. Like this oscillation between our wills and our actions, it keeps on happening for us because our willpower is not strong enough. We have to manifest it. It is there inherently in every one of us. We have to manifest it. Now, in Buddha's case, on all the great people's case, we can see in the life of Jesus Christ, in the life of, what do you say, Saint Patrick, or in the life of Saint Augustine, you can take, or Muhammad Paigambar, you can take, or Buddha, you can take, Jain, Mahavir, you can take. All of them, all the great people, Swami Vivekananda, once they take a resolve, it will be firm, and they will see that they will practice to the letter. So Buddha also took the firm resolve, feeling that I will not get up from this seat until otherwise I get that answer. Then he sat and he started meditating. I mean, how many months over, how many years over, or how many days over, we don't know. At least one fine day, he got the truth. He realized the truth. He got awakened. He got enlightened. That's why Siddhartha has been called as Buddha. So Siddhartha was addressed by the people afterwards, I mean, in due course of time, that Buddha, because he is the enlightened person. So he's enlightened. Based on this enlightenment, he gave his teachings in the four truths. Of course, if you see, this same idea is there in the Sankhya philosophy also. Because as I said already, because his teachers, I mean, initially his teachers were Sankhyans. That's how his philosophy is much near to the Sankhya. And very interesting is, if you study deeply all these things, you'll be able to understand. The Indian philosophy, the genesis of Indian philosophy, I mean, Indian psychology is Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The first Indian psychologist, who is the Indian psychologist, father of Indian psychology, if you ask, we can say that is Patanjali Rishi. And the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras is based on the Sankhya philosophy. No, so Buddhism is also, teachings are initially, the root is based in the Sankhya philosophy. That's why Sankhya, Buddhism, Indian psychology, Western psychology, all of them are correlated easily. Why? Because even Sankhya or Patanjali Yoga Sutra's root is also, Indian psychology's root is also in Sankhya and Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Anyhow, now the Four Noble Truths were given by Buddha. What is that? He said very clearly that their suffering exists. Suffering is there. We should not simply cover the good flowers, cover with the good words. No. The square fact of the life is there is a suffering in our life. That is there, it exists, and we have to accept it. We have to accept it I'm adding it, but he said there is a dukkha. There is a suffering. Okay. So if there is a problem, or if there is a lock, if there is a lock to the house, what does it mean? Now that means there will be key also. If there is a lock, the manufacturing of lock comes along with the key. If there is a problem, there will be a solution also. So similarly, now there is a dukkha, there is a problem of suffering. If there is a problem of suffering, then the second he said, there should be cause for this problem of suffering. So first is there is a suffering exists. And the second teaching he gave is that find out what is the cause of this suffering or problem of suffering. Okay. Now suffering exists and we should know the cause of the suffering. And the third he said, that means since there is a cause, there will be a solution also. So the third important teaching of Buddha he gave is there is a solution or there will be a solution. Let us try to find out what is the solution of this problem or a solution for the cause. And the fourth is the solution is what? Ashtanga Marga. That is eightfold path. Again, that if you see, that's based on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Ashtanga Yoga is there, here Ashtanga Marga is there, but there is a difference between Ashtanga Yoga and Ashtanga Marga. Yeah. So he tells very clearly that there is a suffering and there is a cause for suffering and there is a solution of suffering. There's a solution for suffering and there is a path to, achieve the nirvana, to eradicate the suffering. Now, what is the suffering? Suffering is dukkha. If we say dukkha, because of the disease or old age and death and etc. And now, what is the cause for the suffering? If you ask, he says that is desires, worldly desires. That is he called tanha. It is from a Sanskrit word trishna. Trishna, because he used Pali language in those days, it was the local language. That's why he used the Pali language instead of Sanskrit. That is called tanha. Tanha means craving for materialistic objects, craving for worldly desires. Tanha. Now the question comes for all of us is, then should we leave up all the desires? Can't I enjoy the world? Can't I enjoy the world? Yes, you can enjoy the world. Definitely. But what do you want? At what cost? Is one has to decide for themselves. Okay, the desires is the cause of suffering. And how this desire is caused? And he gives Pratitya Samutpada. That is called dependent origination. 12-linked chain he gives. It starts from avidya, from how this, because of the ignorance, how all these things are being developed. He gives a beautiful thing. Let us try to understand. This is third one. And the fourth is the nirvana or the moksha or mukti or bodhisattva, whatever they say. So enlightenment is the way out. Means basically what is that? How one can get enlightenment? Break the dependent origination. That is the 12-linked chain is there. Once you break, then you will be enlightened. And how to break that chain of bondage? For that, you have to practice, you have to follow Ashtanga Marga. That is the eightfold path. Now, probably today, I will be discussing more on the Pratitya Samutpada. What is this Pratitya Samutpada? If you see Pratitya, it is a Sanskrit word, of course. Pratitya means it is a meeting. it is depending. Pratitya means it is depending basically. Samutpadya. Samutpadya, samyak utpadya, that is arising or origination or leading one to another. So basically, it is a theory of dependent origination or theory of dependent arising. I mean, just if you want me to say in the layman's language, no, because now there is a beautiful paddy field, a field with a paddy. So how this paddy, I mean, they grow or whatever, how it is that? Because we sow the paddy seeds. Similarly, for an example, you see a mango tree. How this mango tree came into existence? Because someone of us, we sow the mango seed as a result, and water was given, and soil and sun, fertilizers, everything it got. That's the reason slowly it got germinated. It became a plant, and luckily either a cow or goat or lamb, no other animal, ate it. That's the reason it slowly it grow and it became a huge mango tree. Now, the cause for the mango tree is what? Mango seed. So similarly, now for our suffering, there is a why we are suffering. You can say attitude, you can say ignorance, you can say because of our arrogance, you can say because of our desires, you can say because of our actions, we can say. People can give number of reasons, number of causes. So, and once you understand that cause and once you break, then you are liberated. So just like you sow a mango seed, because of that, there was a mango tree. So similarly, so what is the root for suffering, cause for suffering, and what is the cause and how it has been germinated and how it has been linked like a chain reaction can be seen in the Pratitya Samutpadya, that is dependent origination. Now, interestingly, the first cause, the root cause for this dependent origination or Pratitya Samutpada, according to Buddha, is avidya. Avidya, whoever studied Vedanta and philosophy a bit, you will be knowing it. Avidya means here, it is not the Vedantins, whatever they say, avidya, that is ignorance of oneself or ignorance of true nature. It is basically ignorance of the true nature of reality. According to the Buddha, ignorance, avidya means ignorance of the true nature of the reality. I will go a little deep in that slowly. The second is, because of this avidya, samskaras are born. Now, what is this samskara? You can say tendencies, impressions, and mental and physical activities, which happens as all these things, samskaras, formations basically, mental formations. So the samskara in the Buddhism is mental formations. And because of this ignorance, mental formations has been formed. And because of these mental formations, then vijnana. Vijnana means your consciousness. Your consciousness, again, it is a very technical word. You have to be very careful in understanding. It is like awareness or perception. So consciousness, it is not Vedantic consciousness. Your consciousness, awareness or perception. And because of this vijnana or awareness and perception, the fourth link is nama and rupa, that is name and form. That is our body and mind. So ignorance, from ignorance formations, from formations to awareness, from awareness, it is the body and mind or nama and rupa has been formed. From this, when the body and mind is formed, what happens when we are born? Obviously, our senses come into contact with sense objects. So that is they call Shadaitanana. Shadaitana means six senses. What is the six senses? We know five sense organs. So is the sixth sense, so is it also included here? No. We know five senses. We know hearing, seeing, touch, taste, and smell. Five sense organs of knowledge. We know that the sixth sense organ is what here? Mind actually. So six senses is five sense organs of knowledge plus mind is called six sense organs, Ashadaitana. And the sixth is the sixth link, the sixth chain, the sixth component in the chain is what? Sparsha. Sparsha means contact. It's obviously when the senses come into contact with the external world, all the reactions start. For example, when we are sleeping, there is no problem either to myself, to oneself who is sleeping, and there is no problem to the world also. That's why I always say sleep is the best medicine for all of us. Because what happens in the world, what is happening in the world, we are not aware. So we are not disturbed by the world. And since I am sleeping, and the world is also not getting disturbed by me, otherwise we can get disturbed, and we can disturb people all many times. So here it is sparsha, means when sense organs come into contact with sense objects, all our reactions start. So that contact is called sparsha. The sixth one. The seventh is when the sense come into contact with sense objects, what happens? Reactions comes. We all know that. For example, a child sees an ice cream. Recently, I had been to Spar. There immediately I saw. I mean, it was a very interesting story. Like mother with the two children, she has gone to purchase something. I mean, milk and other things for the milk and other food products. So that one child is asking continuously for ice cream, the other child is asking continuously for toy. Now the mother is either she is unable to say yes, either she is unable to say no. Because if she says no, children will feel bad, and probably if she says yes, probably it will become too much for her. I don't know what was her, I mean, how much her pocket was. I mean, how much money she had. So she was a bit hesitant to say yes or no. She was in a fix. So like that, the moment when we start as a child saw the chocolate, it immediately started feeling that let me have it, let me eat it, or let me enjoy it. So when we start seeing the world and its objects, we obviously our mind starts reacting, our sense organ starts reacting that I want this or I don't want this. The seventh is called Vedana or feeling. Then the eighth is what? So when you saw an object, just like a child saw the chocolate and it started liking it, and its mind, the child's mind started craving for that, let me have the chocolate or let me have the ice cream. So that craving, Trishna or Tanha, is the eighth link, which contains desire and attachment. Because of the desire, only attachment comes. If there is no desire, no attachment. And of course, attachment and aversion are the both are the two sides of a same coin that we have to understand very clearly. Attachment and aversion are the two sides of a same coin. Now, once you have got a craving, desire, then what happens? Then your mind clings to that, clinging, clinging for name and fame, clinging for power, clinging for position, clinging that, oh, people should recognize my achievements, people should tell I am that such a good person, I am pious person and whatnot. So the clinging, so that is called upadana, clinging to desires, clinging to achievements, clinging to desirable objects, basically. So once that happens, then what happens? Then it makes a good form, it takes a good form in our mind, which is called bhava or becoming. So without that, I can't exist. Without ice cream, I cannot exist. Without chocolate, I will not go, whatever you do. So that craving, that attachment has taken a good form, bhava becoming. Then because of that, because of these desires, I'm go on doing actions to fulfill this, and it is creating so many reactions. And to fulfill that, to fulfill my desires, to fulfill my reactions, to fulfill my attachments, and to stop or to say no to my aversions, then what I have to do? I have to take again birth, rebirth, birth, because Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, all basically any religion in India, whichever religion or philosophy has been, I mean, there, except a materialistic philosophy that is Charvaka, all of the philosophies, they believe in rebirth or reincarnation. So Buddhism also believes in rebirth. So they say that because of the jati. Jati means here it is birth. So because of these desires, because of this clinging, attachment, desires, what happens? I am taking birth. And again, I am trying to fulfill them. And it produces so many reactions. Again, to fulfill that, I'll be taking birth. So basically rebirth, rebirth, rebirth. And I've taken a birth. I was a child few years before, few decades before. Now then slowly I will grow. I'll become adolescent. Fine. Then I become young. Fine. Middle age, maybe better. Then slowly, slowly, I become old. I will get some health issues, can be health issues, old age and death. And because of my desires, this body will perish, no doubt, this physical body. But again, I will take birth. Again, I will continue this process. Again, adolescent, young, middle age, old age, death, again starts. So this cycle, it keeps on repeating. This cycle keeps on repeating. Just like there's a chain, that's the reason the two wheels are also interconnected of a bicycle. That's why when we pedal, the cycle goes further. Say, if the chain gets disconnected, somehow one link gets broken, if it gets broken and the chain gets disconnected, how much ever you pedal, then the bicycle doesn't go further. Why? Because the connection between the two wheels, which was the chain, has been broken. So this 12 cycled spokes, I mean, a wheel has got a 12 spokes, 12 chains, 12 chain links. If you break this, then you will have no more birth and death. You will get nirvana. You will get the emancipation. For that, Buddha's teachings or Buddhism came into existence. Now, this theory of dependent origination is a very important point, or it is the heart of the Buddha's teachings, we can say. And a lot of, commentaries have come. A lot of, it differs from Hinayana and Mahayana. And Hinayana and Mahayana, so many commentaries have come, sub-commentaries have come, glossaries have come. So much technically they discuss and all. So without going to all of them, just I gave a bird eye view. Now, if you see what is meant by ignorance, if you ask, ignorance is nothing but not knowing the limit of the things, of the incidents, of the past or of the future, of the actions and of the nature or whatnot. Everything has got limitation, but we don't understand. Just for life, our life has got some limitations. Our body has got limitations. Our desires has got limitations. Our past has got some limitations. Our futures will also have some limitations. And everything has been limited by some other thing. Everyone wants to be omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, all powerful. Like so many kings, starting from Alexander, Julius Caesar, and from Rome, Greek civilization. So many emperors, they wanted to become all powerful and emperor of the entire world eternally, but it didn't become. They couldn't. So their power was curtailed by some other force. So we are all limited in this mundane world, but we don't understand, and we behave as if we are all powerful and we can live eternally. So that is what the ignorance the Buddha is going to speak. Buddha is mentioning. So once you understand the limitedness of all these things, the limitariness or transitoriness of all these things, then it helps you to detach yourself. Say, for an example, any desire you think, or chocolate or an ice cream or whatever, when you take, it is for momentary it is nice, but once you go below the throat, that's it. Then for that, why should I struggle unnecessarily? That's what a saint told beautifully. I take a beautiful sweet. I eat till in this 2 inches or 3 inches tongue, when it is there, it is nice. Once it goes below the tongue, below the throat, then it becomes just either it's a protein or a calcium or a fat or a unnecessary fat or whatnot. Then why, oh mind, why are you obsessed with this sweet? And as if it is to get that, getting the sweet has become the alpha and omega of your life. Why this stupidity? That's what a saint had told. So we have to understand the limitations, limitedness or transitiveness of the things and the world and its objects. So the moment when you know what happens, then obviously that curtails or that checks your mind, and slowly you will start getting detached. You need not to leave the world, but you can. Buddha and Vedanta is asking you to leave the worldliness. You need not to give up the world. You need not to renounce the world. You continue your work, you continue your profession, you continue your lifestyle and all these things. But clinging on to that and unnecessary attachment, whatever is there, that should be curtailed. That should be checked. Whoever wishes to have the eternal happiness. Now, if some of us say, that's fine, Swami, but we want all these things. Then either scriptures or philosophy says, okay, my dear, if you want all of them, please have it. Then when they have it, it is like 50-50. You try to get something, you got, and you are happy. But this happy is not eternal, this happiness. It may be there for a few days, few weeks, few months, maybe a few years if you are blessed and lucky. After that, again, it is followed by dukkha, it is followed by suffering, or it is followed by unhappiness, it is followed by sorrow or misery. So anything in this world, Whatever the best thing you can say from any field, that is being followed by happiness and unhappiness. Or sometimes because of some reason you faced unhappiness, you faced misery, but again that will be also not long. After some time, followed by this misery, there will be happiness. That's the reason Buddha told beautifully, how can I be peaceful at all times? Just remember the formula, this too shall pass. Very important word, important statement. This too shall pass. When you are happy, yes, fine. But if you cling on to that, when you get a suffering, then you will have a problem. When you get a misery, you will have a problem. So when the favorable circumstances comes and unfavorable circumstances comes, both times we should think this too shall pass. When unfavorable circumstances comes, with the Buddha's teaching, this too shall pass is very soothing. It is very happy, very nice. We will all accept. But when favorable circumstances are there, when I'm happy, should I think all this time? Yes. Otherwise, what happens? You will be, afterwards, whatever the reaction comes after some time, then you have to be the victim of it. So this is transcending the duality. It is not the insensitivity. Then this too shall pass. When I'm happy, if I start thinking this too shall pass, I will not enjoy the life or the world. And if I'm miserable, this too shall pass. So neither I'm enjoying nor I'm suffering. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. If I start thinking, then it is like a life of a insentient thing, like a rock or probably a mineral or a table or a chair. No, it is not insensitivity. It is rather transcendentalism. So I'm transcending these dualities of the world and trying to experience the bliss, experience the happiness rooted in oneself. That is what the Buddha's and Vedanta's teachings we have to understand. Now, once this ignorance has been understood, then what happens? If you don't have that understand, if you are ignorant, then what happens? Obviously, you will get the second part is what? From Ajnana, the second will come Moha. Because of that Moha, you will get the delusion. And or rather, because of that ignorance, I want this or I want that, I'll be thinking. Because of that, so many impressions are being created. Just simple for an example, you throw a small pebble in the water, in the pond. Small pebble it created one simple wave, and the stone went and sank at the bottom of the pond. Fine. But the small pebble, the small wave, a wave that created one more wave. X created Y, Y created Z, Z created A created B created C, like that. A series of waves it creates, and probably it will reach the other shore of the pond. All these things started with what? One simple pebble thrown into the water with a single small wave. This single small wave created a multiple waves, a series of waves. This is what the Buddha is telling, that because of that ignorance, samskaras are being created. And the samskaras are the force. For example, some person is called good person. Some person is called bad person. Why? Because they look beautiful, that's why? No. It is not of skin color. It is not what is their form. It is not their young or child or old or deceased people. No. It is because of their personality. When I say some person is noble, he has got a noble, he's a noble person, he or she is a noble person, that personality, it denotes good or bad. And that personality has come from where? From his character, his or her character. And that character comes from where? From his actions. And these actions has been originated from where? From his thoughts, or from his samskaras, or from his tendencies, or from his formations, or from his impressions. So his personality has been created by his character. His character is from his actions. His actions are being formed, are being rooted. The roots for his actions are formations, samskaras. So one has to be careful about his thinking. Why? Think good, think good, think good. Why we say? Because these thoughts create samskaras. And the samskaras will act as a catalytic force. Just like we need a fuel for our vehicle to drive. So these thoughts, these formations act as the fuel for our actions, for our life, for our achievements. If you are not aware of what is right and what is wrong or limited in transitoriness of the world, then what happens? Unnecessary formations it creates in your mind because of the desires. And that formations will create a delusion. And because of that, what happens? You will get a name and form. Because as our thoughts, our body is formed, our personality is formed, our life is formed. So because of that, Shadaitana, from the samskara, Vijnana is formed. Vijnana means warrior, it is consciousness, means it is what? Awareness or perception. Now, every one of us, we have different perceptions about the life. We have got different perceptions about the world. We have got different perceptions about him or her. Why these perceptions are formed? Why? Because of our own life, because of our own samskaras, because of our own actions done, performed either in this life or in this previous lives. As our perceptions, so our life. That's what Krishna said thousands of years before. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. As you think, so you become. You are thinking good always, you will become good and you will manifest that good. It is not that all the good people, successful people didn't get difficulties, problems. All of them probably they got more, but they all digested it because of their attitude, because of their perceptions. Their perception about the world and things are, they try to see positivity in everything. Maybe love, compassion, gentlemanliness, kindness, all these things they try to understand. Their perception is towards that, and they try to see that in everyone, and they try to manifest it. When Buddha was tried to kill, Buddha was tried to assassinate by his own disciple, very interesting fact in his life. Jesus was crucified, we know that. Buddha was tried to kill. Buddha was by his own disciple. Why? Because of jealousy. Very unfortunate. Because Buddha was so famous and a lot of people, thousands of people were followed in those days in India and Nepal across and other parts. One of his own disciple, he was unable to bear that popularity of the Buddha, though Buddha was never bothered about it. He didn't give any value or head for that. But his own disciple was jealous of it. And his own disciple, he tried to kill the Buddha. But luckily or miraculously, Buddha was spared from that. And finally, Buddha understood, but Buddha didn't react. His disciple went and asked sorry. So all of the great people, they had to face a lot of problems. Unnecessarily sometimes. They might not have done mistakes or wrong things. And because of people's selfish desires, hunger for power, position, they put others into problems. They criticize, they put wrong things on them and whatnot. But in spite of all that, the righteous people, the great people, they try to do good things for the other, including their enemies or the world and society and etc. Because their perception matters there. So how I perceive the truth, how I perceive the world, how I perceive the relations, how I perceive the people is very, very important. And these perceptions are being grounded at what? Because of the samskaras, because of some impressions. And these impressions what? Because of the ignorance or knowledge. And because of this vijnana, the perceptions, what happens? Nama and rupa comes, name and form. Because of my perceptions and my body gets. Even today, the science is accepting. As we think, even there is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means, for an example, there is an old house. It was a 50 years old house. So the wiring and all other things are gone bad and they have become fragile electric wires. So we can do rewiring in the house, isn't it? We may be able to remove them and we can insert the new wiring. Old house can be rewired time and again after 40-50 years. But generally what we think, I have become old now, 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus or 70 plus. Now I can't change. I can't learn new thing. This is what the general phenomena, general notion for all of us. And that's what we have been heard also from our parents or grandparents and all. But today the neuroscience is telling very clearly, no. at any point of time, at any age, you can learn, you can get away from your habits, you can redo things actually. Just like after 50 or 100 or 200 years house, still you can you can do the rewiring of the house. Similarly, you can change your habits, you can change your thinking, you can change your perceptions, you can change your attitudes, you can change your lifestyle if you wish. This is what called neuroplasticity, or basically rewiring. So that rewiring, all how it can be done, because of our perceptions and because of our samskaras. Consciously we have to do that. And because of that, perception, what happens? Nama and Rupa, the name and form happens. And because of that, you get sense objects, sense organs, and along with the mind. And based on our attitude, based on our perceptions, based on our samskaras, our senses, sense organs, and mind, they start behaving. Now, mind is neither good nor bad. It depends on only how we use it. Similar, for example, a knife. Knife can be used to cut to dress the vegetables, to cut the fruits, and it can be used to remove the thorn, or probably to do the operation for a deceased person. And the same knife can be used to kill a person. Now, when you use the knife to cut the vegetables, so whether the knife was good, and when the knife was used to kill a person, the knife is bad? No. Knife is neither good, knife is neither bad. It is only on whose hand it is there. Who is using and what is his intention is what. So this our life, our mind, our sense organs, this world, it is neither good nor bad. It is only how we are going to use it. Again, it is a perception, of course. Because of the perception attitude, our sense organs and mind is formed. Based on that, our life, quality of life is also formed. I am happy, I am unhappy. I am blissful and I am disturbed. Again, it all depends on oneself. So based on the Shadaitana, again Sparsha, that is sense organs come into contact with sense objects, and these things come, which are very interesting. So now time is up, and by the God's grace, let me try to discuss other things in the next class. And if any doubts or questions are there, I'll be happy to answer. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Yeah, anyone of you got any questions?
Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji, in this 12 links, 10th one is Jati. Which are the 11th and 12th one? I missed them.
Yeah. Jara Marana.
Jara Marana.
No, see, 10th is Bhava actually. 10th is Bhava, the 11th is Jati, the 12th is Jara and Marana.
Jara Marana, okay. And this, Swamiji, this sounds very similar to the starting from avidya and samskara. This sounds very similar to Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa. As you explain these things,
yes, you are right.
They are sounding very similar.
Yeah, it is very similar, but the only thing is, what do you say? The meaning of these words are different. For example, avidya. The Vidya, when we say Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta, the Advaita Vedanta especially, the non-dualistic school of Vedanta, what it describes, how it explains, what do you mean by avidya, and what Buddhism explains what is avidya, is what difference. But the overall philosophy and the overall scheme of, the link, if you see, yes, it is true. It is similar.
And the next question is, Swamiji, when I listen to Vedantic concepts, it feels it's extremely, I would characterize it as extremely optimistic, because it says, as you said, okay, give up worldliness but not the world. So it also says, as you have said in some previous lectures, do your karma. So it fills a person with energy. In this case, isn't it giving a pessimistic feel
Yeah,
his
I think there
teachings?
are some. Yeah, there. This is one of the criticism. This is one of the criticism on Sankhya as well as Buddhism,
Mm,
and including Jainism. You are right, because in Vedanta, what happens? Why should I strive for realization? Because to get the ananda,
mm,
your real nature is ananda, bliss. So to remember, to attain, or to get it, you should strive. Okay, that is a
mm,
positive way of putting. Now, well, Sankhya and Patanjali Yoga Sutra and Buddhism is also telling the same thing in a other way. Like it is, why should we strive, or why should I need to practice spiritual life or meditation and all, or to get rid of misery?
mm,
So one is telling to get rid of misery, the other is telling to have happiness.
mm,
Now, well, both of we can say both are one and the same. Yeah, as a as a layman's language and the oversimplifying, from the point of oversimplifying, we can say yes. But technically, when you speak and when you say from philosophical school point of view, theoretically, they are a bit different.
mm.
Yeah, but that's okay. But it's also a very interesting point. How to get rid of suffering, how to eradicate suffering is what the Buddha's interesting teaching, which is the core of his teaching. Very interesting point.
And Swamiji, next question is, you mentioned that Patanjala Yoga Sutras are also based on Sankhya, right? And the first two steps are Yama and Niyamas in Patanjali's yoga. Is there some parallel in Buddhism? For example, you mentioned Ashtanga Marga,
Yes,
which comes next.
yes,
Is
yes,
it
yes.
is it like the Niyamas or?
See, here it is a very interesting point. Is like for an example, Samyak Dushti, Samyak Sankalpa, and all whatever say that Ashtanga thing. More or less, it is Yama Niyama, we can say, no doubt. But Yama Niyama consists few more things actually. But here
Hmm,
probably they are not included. It is more simple rather. Yeah.
okay. 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 Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Hello, Swamiji, can you hear me?
Yes, Margaret, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just have a question. Could you speak a little bit more about the middle road, the middle way? Because I would be very much like that. I'm kind of all duck or no dinner, the way to say. And that's applicable to a lot of things in my life, including meditation. And I'd like you to speak a little bit maybe on meditation if you have time.
Yeah. See, generally, what happens for us, I mean, in general, I'm saying that I am not telling anyone particularly. For example, if someone is got foodie, say, for example, he or she is a foodie, then he or she likes to eat a lot.
Mm.
Because of that, he or she may end up with some obesity, or he may she end up with some cholesterol problem or whatnot. Then, unfortunately, such a person ended with some, health issues.
Mhm.
Then that person went to the doctor, and doctor said, "Fine, my dear, everything is okay with you, but because you are not able to control your food, that's the reason. That is the cause for all of these problems. Okay, now I give some medicines which will give a temporary relief for you, but you have to control your food. If you don't control your food, then you can't do. I can't help you, or you can't help yourself." So XYZ said, doctor said. Okay, then that person said, "Okay, food is the problem for all of this." Saying that, unfortunately, because food is a problem, he or she took it very seriously, and he or she reduced the food. So much so, tomorrow, again, she started getting a problem. And when she approached the doctor, then the doctor said, "This time, because of the lack of nutrition, you are getting this problem." Why? Because you are not eating at all, or whatever the basic nutrients you have got, calcium, protein, or fat, and cholesterol, whatever the basic necessities we need. So you must take that much food. And instead of that, you reduce a lot of food. As a result, there's a lack of nutrition for your body, and you are getting a suffering. Now, one side you are eating, a person was eating too much. And because doctor said to reduce the food, but unfortunately, without having a calculated, discrimination or exercise or whatever. So, I mean, that person reduced food so much, the lack of nutrition came into picture. And again, it has to be supplemented through food and so medicines or whatever. So generally, the dietitians say that, okay, morning breakfast, so much calories should be there. And afternoon food, so much calories. Evening food, so much calories. For that, there should be a balanced diet. Some carbo, some protein, some minerals, some iron, potassium, all these things, isn't it? So similar. For example, because sleep is the best thing, which I said in my class, that there is no problem for you and for the world. So I love sleeping, so I'm sleeping 8 to 10 hours. I'm simply wasting of my time. And suddenly we heard from a monk, from a philosopher, from some great person, oh, you are sleeping too much. I think 8 to 10 hours is not required. You are sleeping and you're wasting your life. Why can't you use for something else better? Okay, fine. I took it very seriously. And I started reducing sleep so much so that I started sleeping only 3-4 hours. So I didn't exercise my discrimination there. As a result, again, I had got some health issues. So some of us may require 5 hours, some of us may require 6 hours, some of us may require 7 or 8 hours or whatever. 6 to 8 hours is generally told by doctors, no doubt. So based on our lifestyle, based on our mind, mental state, we have to decide. So not sleeping at all, 2-3 hours or 4 hours, and spending time in meditation, spending time in something else, and sleeping too much. So these extreme cases we can find. So this has to be checked, and we should have a follow middle path. So whatever is required, food or sleep or recreation or whatever is required for my body and mind, for the healthy body and mind, let me do that. That much I will do it. And rest of the time, I will spend my time in a good way, in a beneficial way. Say, for example, mobile. You can use mobile, probably you may be using mobile to hear my lecture. Someone may use mobile to do internet surfing and doing video games and etc. for hours together. 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. Children, especially today, we all know that. Many children are getting to the mobile so much so that you have to probably take to a doctor, to the psychologist, how to get away from the usage of mobile. So mobile is neither good nor bad, but how do you use it? For what you use it, how much you use it, one should use our discrimination. So similarly, now for example, Buddha meditated and he realized. He got enlightened. Siddhartha became Buddha. Now I said, Swami said that day Buddha meditated and he became enlightened. So let me also meditate. Okay, how much to meditate? Buddha, he decided, till getting enlightenment, I will not get up from the seat. He decided and he sat and he meditated for how many days or how many weeks or months he got enlightened. So I will also take resolve and I will also sit cross-legged on the seat in the room and I will not get up till my enlightenment. Good resolve, nice, no doubt, but is our body and mind is ready for that? If you are not yet ready, then there can be disaster in spiritual life. Okay, then I'm not ready. When I become ready, let me meditate. No, that is also not right. So yeah, to start with 10-15 minutes, probably 5-10 minutes, then slowly balance my life, balance my work, balance my rest and other things. Then I can increase by 15-20 minutes. Then if my interest and everything goes well, then I can increase by half an hour. Then slowly, step by step, I keep on increasing, and maybe 1 hour or 2 hours or whatever is interest and necessity and possibility. Based on that, I can keep on increasing, and I can see that my body, my mind, my lifestyle, everything is taken care. At the same time, I'm happy with my spiritual practice, and I'm able to achieve peace and happiness, etc. So there, one should use our discrimination. Not doing meditation at all, and trying to meditate for 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and having so much reactions physically, mentally, and too much forcing on the mind and brain gets problem, and we will lose our mental balance. Sometimes it do happen with spiritual aspirants, isn't it?
Yeah.
So these extreme things we should avoid, and we should use our discrimination in our food, in our recreation, in our meditation, spiritual practices and studies and any other habits, and we should see that life is balanced. That's what I mean, middle path.
Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji. Lovely.
Thank you, Margaret. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then. Wish you all good night and divine dreams.
Thank you, Swamiji. Wish you the same.
Thank you.